And we're back. Pick ban happened again for game two. We're going ahead and taking a look at some bans that are flying by pretty quick here. Nasus and Lilia for the blue team, and Yone and Ashe for the red team.
Yep, I mean we're seeing some repeat bans. I think all of these champs were actually banned in the last game, weren't they?
Yeah, going ahead and taking care of some of what look like to be Zabumafu's top picks here with Lilia and Nasus. And Tark coming out, once again, I believe Cash here plays a pretty mean Tark and prevents the all-in comps from performing effectively.
Absolutely. Notably, Caitlyn went through the first round of bans this time. And also, it looks like we have a GP now. It wasn't a GP ban last time, right? I think that's targeted at Down Bad Miner, but I think that one dude also plays a pretty mean GP, and he's been pretty scary in our custom so far.
Yeah, this is gonna a lot of targeted bans off the get-go. I think this is gonna be pretty notable. But at the same time, I think probably the biggest targeted ban here is probably like the Taric, because Down Bad has a really big champ pool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think his Yone is banned because he's just so good on Yone, and his GP is banned because GP is so pivotal in a lot of special team comps, especially like these AoE late game scaling team fighting team comps. But yeah, the Taric just seems like they're really just trying to shut down like one specific thing that Cash can do. Interestingly though, it looks like Thresh made it through the bans once again, and Trouble Like a Box did not first pick it. He instead opted for the Amumu, which will give him more of an ability to initiate team fights, which was something that his team was missing in the previous game.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and see how it goes. We talked about before how Amumu is a pretty like flexible pick, goes into a variety of different team comps here. I'm really interested to see what direction both teams take, and I'm like, given how last team we saw like the really interesting assassin comp.
Absolutely. And now that the Pyke came out with the Mumu, it kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. It looks like they're going to go for more of a diving team fighting comp, which is where I thought blue team was actually going to go the first game before they completely switched it up and went full assassins. So we should expect red team now to fill out their comp with a high range, high damage AD carry. Jinx would have been perfect, except it was snatch up by blue team. And some diving AoE champs. I want to see them pick a Kennen. I want to see them pick a Lilia's band, but maybe like a Diana, something that'll go in with the rest of the team. Karthus, actually. Karthus would be great again. Karthus and Pyke, best friends forever.
I like Kai'Sa pick as well. A little bit of flexibility there. We don't know if this is going to be the AP Kai'Sa or the AD carry.
And either could be fine. I feel like AD Kai'Sa would have a little bit of a hard time this game just because she's so outranged by the damage champs that are already there for the blue team. AP Kai'Sa could be okay with Pyke. She'll soften up the enemy team so that Pyke can get the assassinations afterward. And so far, there aren't any tanks on the blue team. AP Kai'Sa does have a harder time with tanks in this mode specifically, just because of the ability for tanks to buy Warmogs and completely negate her effectiveness as a champion. They grab Warmogs, they just start blocking all of the Kai'Sa Ws, which are surprisingly easy to block. And that's it. There you have it. The Kai'Sa's basically useless in the mid to late game.
I will say it's pretty painful in the very beginning, though. You see the Caitlyn band there as well. So Caitlyn and Maokai, reminiscent of Worlds.
Yeah, seriously. I'm surprised to see the Caitlyn band come out now, too, because I don't even think she'd really synergize very well with the comp that Red Team have already.
I do think that there's the reasons that Caitlyn is very good is that she's one of the safer ADCs. Granted, like, if you get on her, she's dead. But she does have good range, and she's not mechanically too difficult to play, making it like a pretty good ADC.
I actually have to push back on that, too, because I feel like on this map specifically, she's actually not one of the safest AD carries. And that's because of a little friend I like to call Snowball. Snowball absolutely destroys Caitlyn. It is really hard to deal with snowballs when you're playing Caitlyn on this map specifically.
Forget about that.
Yeah, it really throws a curveball, and that's what kind of makes her so difficult to play on this map. And that's why you see her so punished, just in like, especially against comps that have so much dive. And if they have an Ornn as well, like that's GG. Like you're not gonna get out. So I don't even think the Caitlyn ban makes any sense here at all. Also, I just noticed, I think the Amumu pick came out instead of Thresh because it was in part to stop Hector from getting his hands on Amumu. Hector is currently last picking for the blue team. Hector's Amumu is probably his best champion, at least in our customs. It's been super clutch. So I think they took Amumu from Hector, and then they also banned away his Maokai and his Rammus afterward.
Wow, that is some big play thinking there to go ahead and try to take advantage of a potentially like common play pattern there and make him out of his comfort zone a little bit, if you will.
Absolutely, and if that's indeed what happened in the pick ban, then I gotta give props to Drop It Like It's Box. His ever-expanding champ pool, he's really flexing it right now, and he's flexing it on Hector. If this was a takeaway on purpose, I mean, that's great. That is just genius. And we see Red Team rounds out their comp with Miss Fortune. Once again, I don't even know what's going on here. I guess that's probably going to be AD Miss Fortune, AP Kai'Sa, but it could very easily go the other way around.
Yeah.
Sure. So I really like their comp. It's very well rounded. They have 2 supports in Renata, Glaska, and Janna to support a hyper carry, AD carry, in Jinx. They also have an AP huge damage champion on Brand, so who will have absolutely no problem getting damage out in a fight. And a frontliner in Ornn, who is really good at peeling and also engaging fights and is generally just pretty OP in our customs. So what I expect them to do is play back, protect the Jinx, let her scale up. As soon as she hits 3, maybe 4 items, she'll absolutely take over the game, and it'll be really hard for the red team to deal with her. They still have a tank like Ornn to check bushes for Fiddlesticks, and their ability to engage or start fights with Ornn ult is nothing to laugh at. Honestly, this is what we were kind of missing in the last game. Neither team had any go buttons. Neither team had any like real engage buttons to start a fight for sure. So I'm really glad to see that blue team made up for it here. Absolutely. Yeah, so let's talk about the red team. I mentioned halfway through the draft that I wanted to see them pick a Divey AP AoE champ. Fiddlesticks is exactly that. I'm so glad to see that come out. That'll synergize really well with the Amumu going in and set up a lot of damage for Pyke to get cleaned up in the fight. And regardless of what this Miss Fortune builds, her ult should also kind of do a similar thing from a safer distance. I think it was a little sus to pick it after the Ornn was already picked, because Ornn has such an easy time canceling her ult, or at least setting her up to die after she hits the R button. But you can see that they're going for like a lot of AoE damage, and I think they're really looking for Fiddlesticks to carry. But what they do in this game and what their game plan is really depends on the builds that Miss Fortune and Kai'Sa go for, and we really just don't know what they are. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's so much a blue team, since they're really going to try to have their Jinx scale up. So early game, they're not going to have a lot of damage at all. In fact, because they have 2 supports as well, 2 enchantresses, their damage early is like brutally low. I mean, Jinx needs to scale, Renata has no damage, Janna has no damage. Yeah, they're going to have a really hard time in the early game. We've seen comps like that get really punished in customs. I mean, unless they do absolutely nothing for the first 10 minutes, like they'll get dumpstered in team fights. And Team 2 have tools to start those fights when they have the advantage. I mean, Pyke can get hooks in the early game. Amumu can go in. We've seen Drop It Like It's Box's skill shots already today. Absolutely dangerous. And once she hits 6, Haley on Fiddlesticks is going to have a great time popping off with ults. So red team absolutely have tools to capitalize on the early game weaknesses of the blue team. And just for that alone, I'm going to have to give it to the red team here. I think they won the draft. Little sussy. And just to confirm on these builds here, it looks like we're going to have some sort of AD build coming out for Cash on the Misfortune. The Dark Harvest tells me that it's probably going to be another lethality at Misfortune, which, once again, I'm not too excited about. As well, the Kai'Sa is going AP. She's got a tier and 2 Amplifying Tomes. So we're going to see a poke Kai'Sa this game. I actually really like that because there aren't a lot of tanks on the blue team. 4 squishies, and the shields that Janna and Renata put out are not that effective against a 3-item AP Kai'Sa.
And now we're looking here, some of the lightweight poke coming from Kai'Sa, just trying to stretch her muscles a little bit before that really starts to hurt.
And these poke champs are low key super OP on this map. Obviously, we're not still in the ARAM era where Ziggs is king, but they really do give your team another win condition that can really sway the game. We saw this last game. Neither team had really any true engage. If one of those teams had dedicated poke, they could just sit back and poke all day. What would the other team do? They have no engage. After the mid game, what is Thresh going to do? What is Pyke going to do? And we're already getting a fight.
Oh, and the Amumu going in and get a hook in there. Unfortunately, without ult, Amumu going in there doesn't really achieve very much and just comes up with low health. Red team managed to get the fight, end the fight before it becomes a death for Amumu on first blood. So, both teams still looking for first blood.
That's wild. I'm actually surprised that red team didn't just smash that. It was kind of hard to tell, but it felt like somebody had to misplay that. I guess their damage at this point in the game isn't really that high either.
And there, Amumu goes down, landing a bandage, which wasn't enough there. It's kind of what I was talking about before. If Amumu even catches a bandage right now, that one was better. You could catch her under tower, but if you actually leave the safety of tower and you get a bandage, I don't know necessarily, like I was saying before, if red team currently has the damage to capitalize on, especially if you don't have the Amumu ult.
Yeah, and I've got to eat my words from earlier because honestly, red team doesn't have that much damage right now either. Fiddlestick's early game damage is pretty much 0. AP Kai'Sa really needs 100 AP before she's really relevant at all. And the Misfortune's really the only champ that's actually doing any damage on the red team right now. So it actually isn't that brutal for the blue team.
Both teams kind of looking at each other back and forth. A lot of low health members on the red team right now. The Fiddle able to heal up. Fiddle and Pyke able to heal up on their own is a nice touch, but here, as we mentioned before, we do have 2 shields on blue team to able to pad up some of the damage that might be coming out. Oh, great hook.
And you gotta love that Fiddlesticks build. Haley decided to go to the library today. She came back with 3 books. They all look like the same book, so maybe it wasn't that good of a trip to the library, but she's very serious about her studies.
For sure. Kai'Sa tried to follow suit, couldn't find a 3rd book, and instead started crying instead. Got a tear.
Oh, that's depressing. And it makes a lot of sense too, because Kai'Sa's pretty useless right now. I'm actually surprised to see a tier come out for Kai'Sa too. I don't think you see it that often, but you can go tier into Manamune on AP Kai'Sa. It is really nice for buffing your W damage with the Manamune mana base.
Oh, 2 Toxin there is really deep there.
Oh boy. He's walking under tower. How did he not see Adi? What just happened?
Not quite sure there. The 2 Toxin was positioning very, very aggressively. Did manage to make red team very scared, but red team ended up taking a deep breath and just taking advantage of the situation. Red team coming ahead 5-3 right now.
Alert, alert. 2 Toxin stonks are dropping fast. Sell your shares now while you can.
That one dude getting the ult here, and getting some of that Jinx passive there. Pyke's there searching. Oh, would that be a trap? Never mind. Pyke managed to slip away. Misfortune here living on a razor's edge.
Absolutely. Yeah, Cash for Null. I think he hit single digits there.
It's a good thing that the Jinx ult's already down. Oh,
Hey, Cash for Null with the happy feet,
oh
dodging all
yeah.
the skill shots. But dropping like his box goes down for no reason. What is he doing up there?
Got up really far there. I think Driver like Spock was hoping maybe there'd be a little bit of follow up, but the Misfortune was too low to follow up. Right idea, wrong time for it. If Misfortune had a little more health,
Absolutely
it
the
could've
wrong
done.
timing. His team was low and nobody had their ults. Literally no one.
Oh, fighting under tower here is working away. Good for red team, but red team's still really low, and the brand really chunks them under tower here.
That was a cheeky ignite from 2Toxin. Or was that down bad? I think it was down bad. Cheeky ignite on the Illuminati. When Pyke is unseen, when he's invisible, or when the enemy team can't see him, he starts healing really rapidly with his passive. But ignite grants true sight, so even if Pyke uses his W or runs into a bush, you'll still have sight of him and he'll still take damage. So he couldn't actually heal from the ignite damage, and he goes down really easily.
Wow, that is some big brain play right there.
Absolutely. Zamufu goes down in the middle. It looked like he was just trying to reset. I don't even think we're sugarcoating that one.
Yeah, going straight for the Ludens. I was actually just trying to click through to see how much gold Zabufu had. And there you go. Now we have the Ludens online. The poke is going to start to hurt.
Well, what he needs, though, is 100 AP, and you can see right before he comes out, he does pick up the amp tone. Ludens is 80 ability power. I believe the amp tone is 20, so that gives him exactly how much he needs to get his W of evolution online. So now Kaisa is officially online. She doesn't do that much damage right now, but at least she can get those Ws out in rapid succession.
It's going to be pretty interesting here. I haven't seen... Oh, there we go. The first one's coming out. I'll just say, for a little while... Oh, and a big hook. Wow, that was a... Renato wanted to get off the wild right there. That was a big drag.
Instant follow-up for Misfortune.
Oh, what a great
It was
brand
only a
ult.
one-person ult. Oh my gosh, so much damage. You don't love to see one-person Misfortune ults all of the time, but that was just a free pick on a down bad, so I think that was totally worth
and
it.
attempts to clean up here with the fiddle.
Haley going in by herself under
so
tower to get a
close.
free kill.
Everyone's so low.
How do you feel about that engagement from Haley? She went under tower, she was all by herself, her team couldn't follow up, and they lost a lot of life, but was it worth it for those 2 kills? Or 3 kills now?
I think what it may end up being is actually damage on tower. I think that's basically what they're trying to push here. It's going to be a little bit scary. Everyone's here pretty low. Oh, huge Renato. Everyone's killing each other now.
Cash Renault takes down his own champion, his own teammate in Haley.
Given now that
That's BM.
we're a few more seconds in the future, it maybe was not as... But we still have 4 people alive on the red team. I think they're really trying to get tower damage in, just because it seems like blue team is doing a really good job of clearing lane and stopping the minions from ever getting close to tower. So I think they're just trying to get some objective damage here. It's tough to say.
Absolutely. And since she got so much damage on everybody, and they were able to chunk the tower to almost half, yeah, I think you're totally right. That was super worth it. It's insane to see how much agency that these players can have on Fiddlesticks, though. Haley's been playing out the Fiddlesticks a few times, I want to say, over the last week, and she's made a lot of moves like that, where she'll go in completely by herself, her team can't follow up at all, it looks really bad,
Oh, what a
and then suddenly
big
she's got the
brand
enemy
ult
team
here.
to 0.
Is everyone dead? No, maybe the burn. Burn's gonna kill him. Oh man.
Oh!
The brand here really popping off as like the red team tries to stay close to like either surround for a collapse on Mumu ult or like try to take advantage of Fiddle. Like the brand ult's just gonna bounce it between Fiddle and a Mumu ult. That's what we're seeing a lot here, and it is a lot of damage.
Yeah, that was brutal. I'm surprised that he was able to get all that damage down under tower. That was really cheeky. Literally just walked up, threw an ult, walks away.
Oh, and the Jinx ult there too. It's a pretty low range on brand too, so that's as you were saying, cheeky and bold, but potentially counting on the 2 enchanters to go ahead and keep him alive and mobile as he's kind of like going in for these pokes, because brand doesn't actually poke super well. Pretty low range.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call him a poke champion, to be honest. I mean, maybe in lane 1v1, but yeah, he's definitely going for bursts, and he's got to get to kind of a close-up range to be able to actually get his burst combos off.
Yeah, I say that because I think that's a pretty common misconception for Brand, is they see Brand as a poke, like, oh, you can put down the flame pillar, get some damage distance. The range is too low. At that point, you're within auto distance. Brand is kind of like a big burst damage mage, and kind of different from like someone trying to hit from a distance.
Yeah, I kind of see him as more like I want to say like Heimerdinger or something. Heimerdinger does have his rockets, so actually he does have at least one way to poke, but he really just wants you to come towards him
Oh,
and
big ults
get his
here.
combo down.
Haley go ahead and get a fiddle here. Isolating 3 Hawks, Mage take him out. Red team comes out one champion ahead. That was something. We once again have deja vu from last game. Roddy here is checking hooks with the enemy team. You know, this time he's trying to hook Renata. Renata's trying to hook him. Who wins this? I think Pyke loses the hook war every time, given how slow it is. See, look at this. Hooked under tower. Manages to slip away. They are going to get this tower, though, so maybe that... Oh, and a huge ult! This Wombo!
Oh, that ain't Falco!
But it's playing out exactly almost what we said. As well, everyone tries to rally around the Mumu. Oh, and Mumu's going in. I think maybe trying to get a reset here. Maybe get a kill? Maybe? Maybe?
Is that Assassin Amumu? Nope, no it's not.
This is kind of what we were talking about earlier. When the Mumu puts down the ult down, the brand ults basically the Mumu. Everyone's going to be around the Mumu, and it will just bounce back and forth. Great damage from Brand. I can only imagine what these damage charts are going to look like at the end of the game.
Absolutely, but he walks up too far and he gets absolutely aped from the bush. That was nasty. But honestly, like, I'm still in awe of that drop like a Spox Amumu ult from earlier. I mean, he had 3 people. The MF ult came out perfectly.
Great follow-up.
It came out perfectly. How many games have we watched recently and casted or just viewed where the MF is just way too late to the party? We get like an engage from a Amumu or something, and the team just doesn't follow up. This is the second game in a row where we've got like insane teamwork from the red team, capitalizing on these insane AoE engagements.
Honestly, I think both teams are exhibiting great teamwork in the team fights. You know, the only things. Oh, we might have another big fight here.
Haley goes in again, but she only catches 3 Hawks on the tankiest champ in the game. I don't know about that one. And the Ignite comes on Pyke, so he can't heal again.
So rough, so rough. And now this time,
that's
blue
double
team.
Ignite, by the way, on blue team.
Maybe really thinking about. I wonder if that was really for the Pyke, and just kind of knowing that that was something that would really mess him up. Oh, look at this, bouncing back and forth. They need to spread out. Oh, the bounce there.
Oh, into each other.
Oh, that was
the question mark
so
king comes
rough.
out. I think Cash is dead too. Oh
Yeah,
no.
That was so unfortunate.
It's a tragedy, dude. If Kendra were here, that's what he would say. It's a horror, man. It's a horror. Oh boy. Well, if you're rooting for the red team, you now know what it feels like, or what it will feel like to be an EG fan in a few days.
This is definitely game's not over yet. Like, as we know, just because you win one fight, you really have to like win almost like in an overwhelming surge, just because if the other team gets a reset, they come back stronger. If the lanes push too far up. Right now, like, red team can try to make space. If they win one fight, they may have to win a second one to try to make up for lost ground here. Blue team is now losing ground, so the game's still going. So we'll go. I still think at this point, like, we're at 13 minutes. The blue team does have more late game heroes. That might be what ends up boiling down to, but we'll see. You know. Oh.
And Pyke checks Bush completely blind. That was pretty sus.
A lot of missed
I actually
ults
don't know
from
what blue team was thinking there. I honestly, if blue team had just gotten in on Pyke there, like, I think he was dead. That was really cringe.
Yeah, a lot of missed ults there from blue team as well. So we'll see how this ends up going. I think right now, I do like when the team fights are happening, there's some awesome coordination. We just need to make sure that neither team gets someone caught out or gets too eager about initiation. Now, I don't think anyone has really been too eager about initiation other than Pyke, and as we say it now, there we go. Pyke sometimes being super scary about positioning. But in
Absolutely,
general...
but Downmad's hiding in the bush. She's trying to get a hook and misses. That was cheeky, though. I like the attempt.
Yeah, it could be a hook or potentially a big Renata ult there, too. Hook into Renata ult could be a big play.
Oh, that would be super dirty. Yeah, so what do you think about the win conditions for each of these teams? How does blue team win? How do they come out on top starting from the position they're in now?
Well, I feel like, goal aside, I think blue team is on top. And I think blue team, as long as they can continue to go ahead and execute good team fights, I think their team fights easier than red team. You know, Pyke doesn't really team fight super well. So blue team just keeps on looking for these fights. You know, whether or not that's Pyke being out of position or Pyke or someone red team forcing a fight, blue team wants to do the team fight. Which is kind of weird again, given that they have like 2 disengaged tanks. But at this point in stage, you know, I think they're better at it. Whereas like red team here is trying to get some catches, either via Pyke a Mumu or a surprise Fiddle ult. And then once if they can get the element of surprise in their hand, I think the fight turns in their favor. But they have to be sneaky about it. To use your words, cheeky.
Absolutely. Yeah. And blue team are definitely invested in keeping their Jinx alive. Jinx now, if we check the items, she's got 2 items already, Kraken Slayer and Runon's Hurricane. Surprisingly enough, level 1 boots. But she's been alive for a really long time. If she goes back and she gets an IE, things are looking really dire for the red team. I mean, they should be beating up these team fights right now with the Amumu Misfortune combo. We've only seen that combo come out once. The Vil ults have been kind of hit or miss. I think the last one was pretty miss. So I think red team really just, or blue team want to keep pressing their advantage. They want to keep their Jinx alive. They want to get her to 3 items. And red team kind of have 2 options here. They either have to get a really good engage with a Mumu plus Fiddle plus Misfortune and win a team fight, which is like insane burst AoE, which is totally possible. Or they need to sit back and wait and poke with the Kai'Sa. Unfortunately, Kai'Sa's damage is very low, and it looks like they're not going to have a choice because blue team's trying to start a fight. Catches Zabumafu.
Big damage, and the Brand ult still bouncing. Wow.
But the counter engage from Haley and Fiddle. She gets a ton of damage down.
Oh my
Almost
goodness.
kills 2 Toxins. Zhonya's to survive. Needs to get a heal out before she goes down. The 3 Hawks assassinates her in the back line. Meanwhile, Keshpernal just walks past the front line of the blue team, chasing down the rest of the team. Pyke is looking for something cheeky, but he has 1 health, and there's no way he can pull it off.
And he may not be able to take down this Orin here.
Orin's come back, but Keshpernal's cleaning up the fight. Droplicant's box can't get into the back line. Wow, it was that long. Droplicant's box is already back. I think they win this if the Keshpernal can get enough damage down. He actually did go the crit build, so he has Kraken Slayer, but for some reason he went Bloodthirster second. I don't understand the Bloodthirster second. Oh my gosh. We see this a lot, by the way. I have to go on a tangent here. We see 80 carries on this map going Bloodthirster early. We see it a lot on Lucian. I don't get it. Like, sure, you can't heal that much on this map. Warmogs is OP on tanks for a reason. But if you're an 80 carry, your job in this game is to do as much damage as possible. That is literally your job. Your whole team depends on you to kill tanks and to build crit and get all the damage you can. Healing with Bloodthirster is not going to matter right now, especially as a second item. He really screwed his build here. If he had gone Last Whisper second, or something to kill the Orin, or even Collector or something, just something to do more damage, then I think they absolutely would have smashed that last fight.
And something to remember here too is that the Guardian's Hammer does also provide a little bit of lifesteal there. So even if you do build damage, you still have some lifesteal. It's not like you're foregoing it entirely. So we'll go ahead and see how punishing this is in terms of the item build order here. It's going to make things a little bit harder.
Honestly, it's a noob trap. It's a noob trap. Bloodthirst is a noob trap. People want to be able to heal and feel safe. And the fact is you just have to play good and build better. And it's totally screwing his build.
Hot takes here from Dwayne at the caster's desk. Both teams still looking for an opportunity to go kick off a fight. Pyke going in and out looking for. This is tight. You know, now we're looking at both teams once again in the center of the lane. At first, it really looked like blue team was doing the push to end it, but as we were talking about before, it really takes, you have to win like an overwhelming fight, you know, with no survivors and be able to really rush things down in order to close it out. So, still anyone's game, I think.
And you know what? I really want to know what's happening in the raid team's comms. I have literally never ever seen Drop It Like It's Box be so controlled in a game, in any video game ever. What is going on in their comms where he's like, you know what? I won't go in on a Mumu over and over again.
I think that at this point he might have learned a few times that when he goes in, Janna ult hits. There's unlike Renata ult. There's so many things to punish a not good, like just a very projected and visible Amumu initiate. Like this is what I was talking about before. The initiations from red team can be good, but they have to be sneaky. Otherwise, you're gonna have like Janna ult, Renata ult come down. That's super sneaky. Oh, and the burn. Fortunately,
that's the Pyke losing the pole war again, the hook war.
It was not as bad as it could have been. I think we did lose a cleanse off the Pyke, but that was a good amount of damage.
And notice that time in Ignite was not used on him, so he was actually able to survive the burn really easily because he just goes invisible with his W or hops into a bush, and then like as the burn from, let's say, Brand is hitting him, like he's passive just kicks in and he heals through it.
Yeah, we can't. We also go ahead and notice how blue team is really eyeing their Brand ult here. They're like kind of keeping that in mind as a way to. I know we literally just said Brand doesn't poke, but in this case they're using it to just deal damage. They're giving up, they're getting space, whether or not that's 3 Hawks moving up or the Enchanter's giving a shield and landing these solid Brand ults and really punishing how tightly red team is grouping at these times to kind of like wait for the opportune moment to engage.
Now, honestly, I gotta criticize the Warmogs pick from Amumu too. It's almost as bad as the BT from Misfortune. I feel like if he had more survivability in a fight, he would have a much easier time surviving all of this like Brand percent max health damage and this Jinx like wailing on him.
A Mythic would have been pretty good. Fawn, even then, would have been pretty decent as well. But Jinx is going to be a big damage dealer, so probably Mythic would have been the way to go here. I think this might have been the seeing Brand as a source of poke and being like, oh, I got to get the Warmogs.
Yeah, he also went Merc Shreds. Like, if there's a Jinx on the enemy team and you're a tank, we can even shorten that. If you're a tank,
oh, this is aggressive.
Don't go Merc Shreds.
Oh, a lot of ults coming down here.
Misfortune kicks out the ult. I don't know what the hell that was from Cash. You have to wait for your team to set up the fight. Haley goes in afterward with the Fiddle ult, gets knocked back by the Janna ult. That was really good positioning by Hector. And red team just falls apart in the team fight.
I will give the Fiddlesticks credit there to try to create space to keep the backline doing the job there. But it got pretty hectic after the Ornn ulted. So the Ornn kicked off an ult. I think the Misfortune saw this opportunity to try to get damage, to try to create space. But then very quickly, the fight turned on its head, and blue team started to go ahead and push their advantage on red.
And what a snipe there from Zabumafu to take out the Jinx. Honestly, the big red flag to me in that fight was they kicked off the fight with the Misfortune ult. Look, we are 21.5 minutes in. You are not going to win a team fight by starting with Misfortune ult. You have got to layer that. That's got to come in second. It's got to come in after the Amumu's ult is already down and a bunch of people are trapped because people are just going to walk out of it. That was super cringe. You either need Amumu to start off with the ult or you need Haley Fiddlesticks to kick off the ult and fear a bunch of people. When they're all CC'd like that, your Misfortune ult comes down, does a lot of damage.
To give the players credit, this is a lot of high pressure situation. At this point, everyone's looking for something, so the second something happens, it sets it off like a bomb. Like everyone just feels like they have to go and make the play. We have a fairly far from downtown Jinx ulti, misses here. Pyke's super low, but manages to heal back up. Amumu gets a catch in the
I think we're looking at the end of the game here. Oh my gosh, I think Cash just canceled his Misfortune ult right at the end of the game. Haley goes in with her ult, but she's got 1 health left. Goes down immediately. Down bad Miner, walking around with like 1/3 HP, not getting punished at all. It's just cleaning up the red team with ease. Drop it like it's box is the only one left. I don't think his Warmogs is going to save him.
And that's game. Blue team taking the win here.
And the Red Bull Baron power play, honestly, was really what I think turned the game here. And this opening is really actually going to help me. Thank you in the chat for giving me the opening to talk about one of our sponsors, Grammarly. Writing's not easy. That's why Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically incorrect, but it's wordy and hard to read. It undermines the writer's message and the word choice is bland. Reading it live right now is the most difficult thing I've ever had to do. So thanks, Grammarly, for your sponsorship, and check out Grammarly.com today.